Hi, my friends. Here's what I learned this week. I went out looking for some fabric, just something simple. And somehow I walked into a place where the fabric cost more than my groceries. Now, I do not know when fabric started carrying prices like fine jewelry, but clearly something has changed. So I am standing there, looking at this fabric. And I will admit, it was beautiful. Smooth, reflective. It moved in a way that almost made you pause. You know that kind of fabric you touch once and then casually touch again as if no one noticed? Yes, that kind. But then I looked at the price, and I paused. Because at that point, it was no longer just fabric. That was a decision. You do not simply cut into something like that. You prepare yourself first, mentally and financially. Then I moved over to another section, and now I am looking at fabrics with patterns woven directly into them. Not printed, woven. And I can respect that. That takes time. That takes precision. That takes skill. But the price? Now I had to take a step back. At that level, the fabric should come with instructions, or at least a quiet warning. Then I made the mistake of touching velvet. And that is where everything shifted. Because velvet has a way of convincing you that you are more prepared than you actually are. Soft, rich, almost too inviting. You touch it, and for a brief moment, you believe you are about to create something exceptional. Then you look at the price, and you realize you should have brought a different level of confidence with you. So now you place it back carefully, as if you do not want it to remember you. And then I looked around the entire store, rows and rows of fabric, all beautiful, all expensive. And I had to ask myself, who is this truly for? Because if you are still learning, this is not where you experiment. When you make a mistake here, it is no longer just a mistake. It becomes a very expensive lesson. And sometimes, a lesson you remember longer than you expected. And I noticed something else while I was standing there. People were walking through that store very differently. Some moved with confidence, like they already knew exactly what they came for. And then there were others, moving a little slower, looking at the price tags first and the fabric second. I found myself somewhere in between, trying to look experienced while quietly calculating what I could afford without making eye contact with the cashier. And that is when it became clear to me. Everything that looks good, it is not meant for where you are right now. Some fabrics require patience. Some require experience. Some require a level of respect before you even begin. Because appearance will draw you in, but skill determines what you are able to keep. And sometimes, the smartest thing you can do, I admire something without taking it home. Because there is a difference between being inspired and being unprepared. And I have learned that not every beautiful fabric needs to become your project immediately. Some of it just needs to become your motivation from a safe distance. Now, I am not saying you should avoid quality fabric, not at all. I am simply saying, do not allow something beautiful to put you in a situation you are not ready for. Because some of you will bring home expensive fabric and treat it with beginner habits. And at that point, even the fabric seems to question your decision. If you like my channel, subscribe, hit that like button, and go make something today and be proud of yourself. Just make sure you understand what you are working with before it begins to work against you. Until then, I will see you next week.